Right now, a work week warm-up is on the way with, can you believe it, 40-degree temperatures. Chris will tell you how long the seasonable temps will last. And the Packers may be off this weekend, but the players are still packing in a lot of good. How you can meet some of your favorites while helping those in need this holiday season.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now this morning.
Good morning. It is 6:30 in the morning on November 17th. I'm Keely Arthur in with meteorologist Chris Reese. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning, Keely.
And it really has been a beautiful weekend so far compared to the last few weeks we've seen. Yes.
Absolutely. A gorgeous day yesterday for the most part, but the clouds streaming back in now, along with the chances of a wintry mix. This is Doppler track right now showing you some areas of some snow throughout parts of the state, especially as you work your way just towards the west. We go ahead and zoom on in, and as you work your way just northwest of Madison, mainly throughout Sauk County, this is where we're seeing some of the snowflakes fly right now. A lot of this is going to be very light, but Reedsburg getting in perhaps on a little flurry action right now, same as you jump over to Baraboo. Some of this might be mixed with some sleet. Now let's go down towards the south in Black Earth through Mount Horeb down towards Blanchard, Argyle, and Monticello. This is where you may be getting more of some sleet or light snow falling out of the sky. Again, this is not really going to stick, even though temperatures are pretty much below freezing, but we're seeing some warmer temperatures. Watch this. We're at 31 in Madison, but as you go just back towards the west where the precipitation is right now, temperatures are at 33 in Lone Rock, 36 in Boscobel, 35 in Camp Douglas. So we're truly starting to see the influence of that warmer air, and folks, I think we'll all warm above freezing today. Madison, look for highs right around 36. We'll see that chance of light snow and flurries pretty much throughout the morning and into the early afternoon. But again, I don't expect any impact, really. I don't think it's going to stick much. If it does, a skiff.
Oh, welcome relief, honestly. I mean, it's snowed almost every week since
Seriously,
October,
since October 28th, there were essentially 2 snow events every week up until now.
Pump the brakes.
We're doing that. We're doing that, but we're switching it out for something else.
Okay, thank you, Chris.
My pleasure.
Well, there is a new Democrat topping the polls in Iowa this morning, and he is 10 points in front of the next candidate. The CNN Des Moines Register poll shows South Bend, Indiana Mayor Pete Buttigieg now has the support of 25% of likely caucus goers. That's followed by a 3-way tie for second places between Senator Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders and former Vice President Joe Biden, all who have 15%. No other candidates are polling in double digits. This poll differs from other recent Iowa polls, which showed the top 4 candidates polls digits within 1 point or another. The caucus is on February 3rd. Well, 8 more witnesses are scheduled to publicly testify in the impeachment inquiry against President Donald Trump, which continues this week. There will be 2 hearings each on Tuesday and Wednesday, and then 1 on Thursday. Jennifer Williams, an aide to Vice President Mike Pence, is among those set to testify this week. Overnight, transcripts of her closed-door testimony was released. Williams was on the July 25th call between President Trump and President Zelensky and testified she found the call, quote, unusual and inappropriate. President Trump has not directly reacted to that statement, but this weekend he tweeted the economy and stock market would come crashing down if he is impeached. More local news now. Beloit police are searching for at least 1 suspect after a fatal shooting we reported on News 3 Now yesterday. Officials say a 34-year-old man was shot and killed in the 700 block of Newfield Drive shortly before 4 a.m. Saturday. Police say they don't believe the people who live in the neighborhood are responsible, but they are asking anyone with security cameras to check their video. Officials say they're looking for a silver SUV and a blue Volkswagen sedan, both of which might have broke windows. This is the 2nd fatal shooting in the city of Beloit in just 30 days. And Madison police are investigating after a 17-year-old boy told officials he was robbed at gunpoint Thursday morning. Officials say the victim said he was inside a car in the parking lot of an apartment complex on Flower Lane around 10:30. He had agreed to get a ride from another teenage boy who soon arrived with two others. One of those unknown teens pointed a gun at him and told him to empty his pockets. Police say the group drove off with the victim's phone and belongings. Well, the Badgers are still in the hunt for a spot in the Big Ten championship after a big win against Nebraska Saturday and a loss for the formerly undefeated Minnesota Gophers. The Freedom Trophy is back in Madison this morning as the Badgers defeated Nebraska 37-21 in Lincoln. It was a history-making game for Jonathan Taylor, who has now rushed 5,598 yards, breaking Herschel Walker's record, who previously was #1. You know that is a huge deal when even Coach Paul Chryst gets a little emotional.
Who he is and how he goes about this, I think, is the thing that you appreciate the most. And, you know, it is hard to run the ball and to do what he's been doing, and he'd be the first one to say it and knows that it takes everyone, right? I feel blessed being able to be around him, and the best part is we still got more games to play, you know, and but he is truly special in so many ways.
They told me after the game, I didn't know that was a thing. There's a stat for everything. So once they told me, afterwards, it's still just to be mentioned with those guys. It's an incredible honor. But you know, I celebrated with the O-line afterwards. You know, we got a picture together after I told them. They were like, "Oh, we need to get a picture." I was like, "Yeah, we do."
Herschel Walker needed more than 1,000 attempts to get the record for most yards in 3 seasons. JT did it on try 836. That's 247 fewer attempts than the former Georgia running back. Well, next up is senior day for the Badgers. They'll host Purdue next Saturday at 3 p.m. And the Badger basketball team is gearing up for their annual matchup with an in-state rival today. They host Marquette this afternoon. The Badgers are coming off their second straight win after beating McNeese State by 20 points on Wednesday night. Marquette comes into the game at 2-0 after beating another Big Ten team, Purdue, in their last game. The Badgers lost to Marquette in overtime during last year's meeting. Tip-off is at noon. And the Packers are heading into their Week 11 bye week with an 8-2 record. They're on top of the NFC North, 1 win ahead of the Vikings and 4 atop third-place Bears. The players are currently practicing for their Sunday night football matchup against the Giants, which is 1 week from today. They're also planning a series of charitable events. Packer players will sign autographs in exchange for donations supporting the Salvation Army for the next 5 weeks. This will happen Monday night in Lambeau Field's atrium. Fans are asked to donate a minimum of $20, and quarterback Aaron Rodgers has pledged to match each donation up to $50,000. A first alert traffic note: the Merrimac Ferry is closed for this season starting this week. The ferry runs 24/7 from April to November, but the last trip across the lake will be at 9 a.m. tomorrow. The Merrimac Ferry is the state's only free ferry. And if you still have leaves that need to be collected, the slight weekend warm-up might make your yard work a little easier. The city asks you to put your leaves, weeds, and trimmings in a pile on the curb, not in the street. According to the city's interactive map, crews have been working on the southwest side, and pickups are still pending on the east and west sides. You can go to thecityofmadison's.com/yard waste for more information. And it is 6:38. We're on the fast track to winter, and many people are looking for things to do inside. Next, we're going behind the scenes of the newest film based on the true story of Ford versus Ferrari. But first, here is a gorgeous live look outside. Chris has your full first alert forecast just ahead.
A little bit of a different tune from yesterday. While we're still a bit warmer this morning, we're not as quiet. We're tracking a wintry mix across the upper Midwest right now, especially throughout the state of Wisconsin. Right now in the Madison area, a lot of what's falling is falling towards the west, whether that's the northwest or the southwest. It is all west of us. It's possible we're starting to see some light snow and sleet falling throughout parts of Sauk County, up Highway 12 towards Baraboo. You go back towards Honey Creek. This is where some of you could be getting in on some flurry and sleet action if you were to look outside right now. Let's jump back down towards the south. We go from Black Earth through Mount Horeb all the way down towards Monticello. It's possible for some sleet and some light snow to be falling there over towards Belleville. Then the areas that are going to be in line of this, you could expect this as we go through the next hour. So Janesville, Evansville, down towards Broadhead, be prepared to see just a little bit of light snow and sleet coming in as we go throughout the morning. It should not be a big deal at all because temperatures are a lot warmer than we were 24 hours ago. 11 degrees warmer for Janesville. In fact, same for Boscobel, Wautoma, 12 degrees warmer. We're 8 degrees warmer in Madison. And folks, the temperatures where the actual precipitation is falling are above freezing. 33 in Lone Rock right now. Same for Viroqua, La Crosse, 3 degrees away from 40. Boscobel, 4 degrees away from 40. Janesville right at the freezing mark. Here in Madison, we're 1 degree below that freezing mark right now. But those winds are coming out of the south at 13 miles per hour. This is really going to help warm things up as we go through the day. So we're going to wind up above freezing, which is why I don't expect there to be any impact from what falls out of the sky. But even still, there's not going to be a lot that we see. 12 o'clock, 33 degrees. We keep that south wind around. You notice the light areas of some shower activity. Here we are towards 4:30. A lot of the shower activity now moves towards the east. And notice I'm saying shower activity. I do think it'll be falling as rain at that point. We'll cool down into the 30s overnight tonight. Look for those overnight lows right around 30. And then into tomorrow, we'll see a little bit more sunshine. Those temperatures top out into the upper 30s for your Monday. Tuesday, we could see a little light rain event come through, but I'm tracking perhaps a bigger event as we head into your Wednesday night and Thursday. This could be a soaking rain through the area. It's going to be a cold rain too. Notice the snow on the northwest side of that. For us, we will simply be wet. But that rain should clear out in time for a wonderful weekend. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday should be dry. We'll see those temperatures in the low 40s. Get this, we have half the amount of cloud cover days and then half the amount with more sunshine.
I prefer the sun. I think most people probably do.
Yeah, especially this time of the year because we take it for granted.
Well, and then there's people who want the snow versus the rain. I don't know.
That'll come.
If you drive, rain's
come.
fine. All right. Well, thank you, Chris.
My pleasure.
This is a great reminder to download our Channel 3000 weather and traffic app. You'll be the first to know when weather that will affect your day is headed our way with the most up-to-date and accurate weather conditions. You can get it for free in your app store. The much-anticipated Ford versus Ferrari movie starring Matt Damon and Christian Bale came out this week. Ahead of its release, Ford Motor Company invited CBS News into its archives for a behind-the-scenes look at the historic win. Chris Van Cleve reports.
In 1966, Ford stunned the world, not only winning the annual 24 Hours of Le Mans race, but driving away with first, second, and third place.
It was the first time an American manufacturer had won in Le Mans. It was a David versus Goliath story, played out on the stage, played out on television.
It was a win Henry Ford II had been chasing for years, trying to upset rival car maker Enzo Ferrari.
You're going to beat old man Ferrari with a Ford.
Correct.
How long did you tell them that you needed? 200-300 years?
90 days.
The race to win that race is now the focus of a new movie, Ford v Ferrari, starring Matt Damon and Christian Bale. Ahead of the film's release, Ford allowed a rare look into its archives, full of documents and artifacts, including the coveted Le Mans trophy. Also on display, a car used in the movie, a replica of the GT40 that won Le Mans. Ford's son, Edsel Ford II.
The takeaway for me is remembering the past, remembering what we did in 1966, and that we have archives and that we can trace back our history.
Retired engineer Mose Nolan was reliving history. He was part of the pit crew in 1966.
This exhibit
brings back so many memories, like, well, almost like watching a movie.
Memories that'll soon race by on the big screen. Chris Van Cleve, CBS News, Detroit.
And at a local screening of that film, a portion of the ticket sales were donated to Cars Curing Kids. The organization supports research and programs for childhood diseases. About 600 people turned out to a theater in Fitchburg to watch the movie and support the cause. If you missed the event but still would like to help, Cars Curing Kids is still accepting donations. We have more information up on our website. Marin and McKellen, they are two of the biggest names in Britain and Hollywood, and now they're joining forces on the big screen. How their latest film stacks up to their many award-winning roles, that's all ahead on News 3 Now this morning, Sunday. Welcome back. Two icons of British acting are together for the first time on film. The Good Liar is a new big screen mystery starring Helen Mirren and Ian McKellen. Together, they have won or been nominated for every major acting and stage award. Anthony Mason sat down with the two in New York this week.
On a perfect autumn morning in New York.
Well, it's not Venice, but
it'll do.
It'll do.
It's almost better than Venice, actually. I mean,
Ian McKellen and Helen Mirren took their first gondola ride in Central Park. It's not the only first for these two veteran actors who sat down in the Central Park boathouse for tea and biscuits.
Oh, it's a chocolate. It's a chocolate hobnob. Oh my God, that's like heroin.
How would you know that, darling?
The 80-year-old Sir Ian and the 74-year-old Dame Helen are finally in their first film together.
You're the only person on this planet who makes me feel that I'm not alone.
In The Good Liar, he's an elegant con man. She, his wealthy, widowed prey.
The whole point of enjoying the movie is not to see it coming.
They meet on an internet dating service, but nothing is quite as it seems.
There's a scene in this movie where the two of you end up on the floor wrestling with each other.
Yes, there is. I had the scars to prove it.
There was a lot of, oh, oh, well, I'm down now. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to get up.
The two of you have only worked together once before.
But
in this city.
But what an occasion that was.
Back in 2001, they co-starred in Strindberg's Dance of Death on Broadway. But opening night almost didn't happen.
The morning of 9/11, you were in rehearsal or heading?
We were doing our last run through. It was such an honor to be in New York at that time, I have to say.
New Yorkers kept on, and so did they.
So it didn't slow you down?
Well, Ian and I got a little bit, you know, blitzy. You know,
Yeah.
we're both children of the Second World War.
Yes.
And the knowledge of how London behaved during the Blitz is sort of a part of our DNA. And we sort of both felt what you do is you carry on. You do not allow this to stop you.
Both are Tony Award winners.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are looking at a very happy man indeed.
McKellen for playing Salieri in Amadeus in 1981.
You did enjoy that?
Oh, yes. How could you not?
Oh, there's nothing like being in a hit show on Broadway.
Is that right?
Oh, nothing like it.
This is an unbelievable honor.
Mirren won her Tony in 2015 when she played Queen Elizabeth II in the audience.
It is a dangerous business, reading newspapers. You know, most of your predecessors claimed not to.
She'd first played Her Majesty in the 2006 film The Queen.
No member of the royal family will speak publicly about this. This is a private matter.
And the Oscar goes to Helen Mirren in The Queen.
Her Oscar win assured she'd remain best known for playing the Queen, just as McKellen is best known for his Oscar-nominated performance.
You shall not pass!
Playing a wizard.
How do you feel about being so closely linked with such large roles?
God bless Gandalf.
Yeah.
No, I ride in his chariot. Yes, I remember a friend saying to me, do you realize when Lord of the Rings comes out, your life's going to change forever? Didn't know what he meant, but it has, in that I've suddenly got thousands and thousands of friends that I didn't know about.
Yeah.
Now is the winter of our discontent.
Both actors got their starts doing Shakespeare.
I swear to thee by Cupid's strongest bow.
Early on, Mirren's sensual approach to the classics saddled her with the label sexy.
You really didn't like that?
Of course not. No, you don't want that. It's like a horrible thing, a horrible backpack you've got to sort of carry through life.
How do you fight that?
You know, I always used to say, just let the work speak for itself.
Yeah.
Let it go. And honestly, that worked out in the end, actually.
Both like where they see Hollywood headed now.
Do you think things have changed substantially in the last 5 years?
From my perspective, absolutely.
Yeah.
And certainly from your perspective, I would think as well, Ian, in terms of the gay community.
If theatre and film weren't concerned with modern movements and concerns, then we wouldn't really be doing our job.
And at the end of our ride,
that was a treat.
Wasn't it? Turned out all right.
Thank you. That was wonderful.
Dame Helen and Sir Ian were already imagining their next project together.
Why don't we play Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers in an old people's home?
Yeah.
I would go to that movie.
You can be in it.
The Good Liar is now showing in theaters. Time right now, 6:56, and there is a full hour of news ahead on News 3 Now this morning, Sunday. Next, we're running through the day's top stories. But first, here is a preview of what's to come on an all-new For the Record.
Good morning, I'm Neil Heinen. Today on For the Record, we're going to talk about the expansion of care and compassion services by a Grace Hospice and Palliative Care and the Madison Area Urban Ministry. Marcia Whittington from A Grace will update us on the Care for All endowment, and Linda Ketchum and Kathy Eckenrod from Mom will talk about Healing House. That's coming up this morning at 10:30 on News 3 Now.
Right now, after digging through years of records, we've found some reoccurring safety problems with local school buses. The News 3 Now exclusive coming right up.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now this morning.
Good morning. It's November 17th. I'm Keely Arthur. We'll get a check on weather with Chris in just a second. But first, here are 3 things to know as you get your day started. Beloit police are searching for at least one suspect following a fatal shooting we first told you about on News 3 Now this morning, Saturday. Officials say a 34-year-old man was shot and killed in the 700 block of Newfield Drive shortly before 4 a.m. Saturday. Police say they don't believe the people who live in the neighborhood are responsible, but they are asking for anyone in the area who has security cameras to check their video. Officials say they're also looking for a silver SUV and a blue Volkswagen sedan, both of which might have broken windows. This is the second fatal shooting in the city of Beloit in just 30 days. If you still have leaves that need to be collected, the slight weekend warm-up might make your yard work a little easier. The city asks you to put your leaves, weeds, and trimmings in a pile on your curb, not in the street. According to the city's interactive map, crews have been working on the southwest side, and pickups are still pending on the east and west sides. You can go to thecityofmadison.com/yardwaste for more information. And a first alert traffic note, the Merrimac Ferry is closing for the season this week. The ferry runs 24/7 from April to November, but the last trip across the lake will be at 9 a.m. tomorrow. The Merrimac Ferry is the state's only free ferry. And switching to weather now, Chris Reese joining us. And Chris, it was very nice out considering what we've been dealing with yesterday.
That's right. It was very nice yesterday, but if you are waking up this morning, you might be in for a light wintry mix. I'm tracking this morning really through the area. If you live in Evansville and Stoughton, that light wintry mix is getting ready to move in right now. The air relatively dry, so a lot of this is going to struggle to reach the ground, but nonetheless, I do think some of it will. Back through Belleville, it's possible to be getting in on some flurries right now. Throughout the western side of Madison, it's possible that some light sleet and light flurries are moving through town. I'll go out the door after this weather segment, really just to double check that and see what's actually reaching the ground here at the station. We're also watching some possible flurries and sleet as you work your way north up towards the Dells. Portage is getting in on this here in just a moment, and all of this is going to be moving over towards places like Lodi and Windsor along with DeForest. So this is what we're tracking as we go through the morning. There's a bit more of that as you work your way just back towards the west. But also towards the west are some warmer temperatures. I'll show you that momentarily, but this is the system that we have to be mindful of today. And notice that there is rain on the back side there. Here in Madison, we are at 31 right now. Winds coming out of the south at 10 miles per hour. That will ultimately help those temperatures warm up above freezing as we go through time. We're already above freezing just towards the west. Boscobel at 36. We're at 33 in Lone Rock right now. Camp Douglas at 34. This is why I've said, if there's anything that truly does fall out of the ground, I don't think it's, or fall out of the sky, I don't think it's going to stick once it reaches the ground. The temperatures are just above freezing, so that's severely going to limit impacts. Plus, I think a lot of this ends up coming in the form of rain as we get towards the afternoon, but that's no chance will be there, at least early. Temperatures will be above freezing by the time we get you towards midday. Keely?
All right, thanks for tracking all of that for us, Chris. Well, every year, Madison Metropolitan School District buses are inspected to make sure emergency exits, brakes, and other crucial components are intact. News 3 Now dug through 2 years of inspection records to see if problems identified in these annual checkups are being fixed. Our Amy Reed shows us what the investigation found.
Inspector Ruth Butterbrodt has done this a while. Checking the ins, outs,
and release,
and underneaths of school buses.
I like making sure these vehicles are maintained and kept safe.
She takes notes of the problems she finds as she goes.
I found some seat holes, some padding that had shifted.
later putting that into a formal inspection report.
Okay.
Most of the buses she checked the day we followed her in Stoughton passed the inspection no problem, but one,
This one was out of service.
had to be pulled. The 2 years of records we went through followed about the same pattern. Only about 1.5 out of every 10 buses had to be pulled from service, and most buses we checked had no or only minor problems, some fixed during the inspection. But others were let go despite not meeting federal standards or showing issues with the brake system or emergency exits, like a broken hinge. And even though the report says issues need to be fixed within 5 days, we found some buses who had the same problem listed multiple years in a row, like this one, first aid kit put in an unlabeled compartment, even fixed during the inspection. The next year, same issue. Badger Bus Lines, the company contracted for Madison schools, said these reoccurring issues are a coincidence, telling me they fix issues promptly and give preventative maintenance. In Madison Metropolitan School District, there are 135 buses in its fleet, and they're running constantly. That everyday wear can lead to repeated issues, they said. A spokesman for State Patrol said in an email to me, like any motor vehicle, school bus components can wear and break over time. In general, school bus carriers have excellent maintenance programs. He said school buses are pulled if they pose an imminent hazard condition, which is what we saw with Ruth.
Anytime one of those emergency windows opens, an alarm should sound to make the driver aware.
When the emergency exit window didn't do what it was supposed to, she watched as the mechanic made fixes or else pull the bus out of commission.
Usually they like to fix them while I'm here if it's something they can do within a short period of time.
Finally, he gives the go-ahead and she checks again. This time, it's a pass. She's happy to get the bus back on the road issue-free.
Oh, pretty good.
Until maybe she sees it again next year.
Now, any issues found in these inspections needs to be fixed within 5 days or else State Patrol can issue a $200 citation. But it's on the bus company to make sure it gets done. Otherwise, these violations are found on spot checks or if someone calls it in. Since 2018, State Patrol has issued 134 citations across our state. We reached out to Madison Metropolitan School District to give their perspective on this, but they did not get back to us. Well, more local news now. Former Madison Mayor Jules Cornica has died unexpectedly at age 82. That is according to the Wisconsin State Journal. Cornica received a bachelor's degree in political science from UW-Madison in 1959 and served as assistant chancellor for the UW before his term as mayor from 1979 to 83. In 2000, he helped establish the Cornica Public Service Award, which benefits civically minded UW-Madison students. He is survived by his daughter Jennifer and son Christopher. And the deadline to apply is tomorrow for anyone looking to make $15 an hour by reaching out to their neighbors. The Northside Planning Council is looking to hire 4 to 6 outreach workers whose job will be to get more families to fill out their 2020 census forms for next year. That area has several pockets that are considered, quote, hard to count. This includes people of color, low-income individuals, and immigrants. And this is all made possible thanks to a $20,000 grant from the city. It's the end of an era in Madison as Babe's Bar and Grill celebrated its final days in business this weekend. The restaurant has been open for 31 years, but will soon be demolished to make way for a housing development. Saturday, it hosted Badger fans for one final football watch party. The general manager says Babe's owner has plans to open another restaurant as part of the new development, and that will be in about a year. Believe it or not, Thanksgiving is right around the corner, and if you have a hard time getting your turkey just right, you are not the only one. In fact, so many people have a hard time doing it, there is actually a hotline to call if you need help. Jenny O Turkey Store can provide you with an expert chef at 1-800-TURKEYS. They say they are ready to field any kind of holiday cooking questions you might have. Jenny O believes they will get an upwards of 10,000 questions this month related to those Thanksgiving turkeys. But if cooking is not your thing, you can always give Hardee's a try Thanksgiving. That is right. The fast food giant says it'll test an item called Thanksgiving in a box. It includes stuffing, bread, tenders, sweet potato waffles, toasted onion-coated green beans, and chicken gravy. The company is pitching it as a tasty, stress-free alternative to the traditional holiday favorites, and it just costs $6.99 plus tax. 7:09 right now. Some wet winter weather ahead for us here in south central Wisconsin, plus some warmer than usual temperatures. Here is a live look outside. Chris will have your full first alert forecast next.
Well, I'm standing outside right now on the weather patio, and I can tell you that things are indeed dry. There's nothing reaching the ground here at the station. That could be a different story, just depending on where you are. We are still tracking that wintry mix throughout the state early this morning. It's going to fight some dry air initially, though, before things truly do get to make it to the ground. But here's how things are shaping up right now. A lot of the heaviest is towards the north and west of Madison. This is where I do think the best chance for any rain or snow to reach the ground is right now. So if you're up near Portage and then over towards Honey Creek, this is where I do think you may be seeing at least some light snow activity. We work our way towards the south of Madison, and still it's possible to see some light flurries or sleet at times. All of this is moving into parts of Rock County right now. That's going to be headed in towards Janesville. Really, at just about any moment, it's just a battle of how much dry air is in place and how much of this can reach the ground. But impacts, if any, are going to be severely limited, folks. We are talking temperatures that are a lot warmer than we were when we woke up at this time yesterday. And a lot of folks are above freezing as well. Check it out. We're talking mid-30s as you work your way towards the west, and we're a little bit cooler towards the east, but I do think everyone warmed up as we go throughout the day. 31 in Madison right now. We see that southerly wind at 10 miles per hour. That's really going to help usher in the warm air today, so a lot of this could actually end up falling in the form of rain. Future Track even shows that. By the time we start to get you towards the early afternoon, any precipitation around should be liquid, which is again why I think we'll see very little, if any, in the way of accumulation today. We'll stay cloudy as we go through tonight into Monday. Temperatures top out into the mid-30s. And then Monday night into Tuesday, it's also possible to see some light showers come on through. And then Tuesday will be another cloudy day. The next day that I'm truly keeping my eye on, however, is Wednesday night into Thursday. That's when I believe we could see a very heavy rainmaker come on through, and it's very likely that this is a very cold rain. Notice a snow line on the northern side of that throughout northern Wisconsin and parts of Minnesota. But we clear out behind that just in time for the weekend. I think we'll be a little bit cooler, but we'll see sunshine by the time we get you towards Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. By next Saturday and Sunday, temperatures will return to the 40s as well. But in the meantime, folks, it is indeed the cloud cover that we're going to be dealing with. Of course, we're tracking that wintry mix chance for this afternoon. Temperatures will be in the mid-30s, upper 30s for Monday, low 40s Tuesday. But let's talk about Wednesday. It may be cloudy, but I see a 45 for that high, and that is where temperatures should be for this time of the year, Keely.
Chris, get inside. I can't believe you're out there without a coat on.
It's not that bad. It's fine. It's warm. You know, I'll just chill out here the rest of the show.
No,
okay.
Get back in here ASAP. All right. Thank you, though. Well, we have been asking you to share your morning with us, and check out this gorgeous, very Wisconsin picturesque picture sent in from Darlene. She says the sky colors were beautiful over her farm in Judah. Well, thank you so much for sharing. And what does your morning look like? You can take a picture and post it on the Channel 3000 Facebook page or on Twitter using the hashtag MyNews3Morning. We will share our favorites right here on the show. And the Badgers are still in the hunt for a top spot in the Big Ten Championship following a big win against Nebraska Saturday and a loss for the formerly undefeated Minnesota Golden Gophers. The Freedom Trophy is back in Madison this morning as the Badgers defeated Nebraska 37-21 in Lincoln. It was a history-making game for Jonathan Taylor, who has now rushed 5,598 yards, breaking Herschel Walker's record. And you know it's a big deal when even Coach Paul Chryst gets a little emotional.
Who he is and how he goes about this, I think, is the thing that you appreciate the most. And, you know, it is hard to run the ball and to do what he's been doing, and he'd be the first one to say it and knows that it takes everyone, right? I feel blessed being able to be around him. And the best part is we still got more games to play, you know, and but he is truly special in so many ways.
They told me after the game, I didn't know that was a thing. There's a stat for everything. So once they told me, afterwards, it's still just to be mentioned with those guys. It's an incredible honor. But you know, I celebrated with the O-line afterwards. You know, we got a picture together after I told them. They were like, "Oh, we need to get a picture." I was like, "Yeah, we do."
Herschel Walker needed more than 1,000 attempts to get the record for most yards in 3 seasons. Well, JT did it on his 836th carry. That is 247 fewer attempts than the former Georgia running back. Next up is Senior Day for the Badgers. They'll host Purdue next Saturday. Kickoff is at 3 p.m. And the Badger basketball team is gearing up for their annual matchup with an in-state rival today. They host Marquette this afternoon. The Badgers are coming off their second straight win, beating McNeese State by 20 points last Wednesday night. Marquette comes into the game at 2-0 after beating another Big Ten team in Purdue in their last game. The Badgers lost to Marquette in overtime in last year's meeting over at the Pfizer Forum. Tip-off is set for noon. And the Packers are heading into their Week 11 bye with an 8-2 record. They are on top of the NFC North, 1 win ahead of the Vikings and 4 atop third-place Bears. While the players are practicing up for their Sunday night football matchup against the Giants 1 week from today, they're also planning a series of charitable events. Packer players will sign autographs in exchange for donations supporting the Salvation Army for the next 5 weeks. This will happen Monday nights at Lambeau Field's atrium. Fans are asked to donate a minimum of $20, and quarterback Aaron Rodgers has pledged to match each donation up to $50,000. To stream or to stay away, that is the challenge many TV and movie lovers are facing after yet another streaming service launched this week. Next, we are taking a look at the ongoing streaming wars to find out what services might be worth it for your family and which are not. That is next on News 3 Now This Morning, Sunday. Welcome back. The streaming wars are escalating with Disney Plus out now. This week, it became the latest streaming service to compete with industry leaders like Netflix and Hulu. CBS has CBS All Access, Apple TV Plus premiered this month, and NBC and Warner Media are expected to release their new platforms early next year. Jonathan Vigliotti reports on how the cost for consumers can add up pretty quickly.
They're calling it the new golden age of television.
Switch to manual navigation.
More choices than ever before. But for Roseanne Ramirez and her 2 kids, it poses very modern challenges.
I just don't see the point in paying for so much streaming and cable and everything all at the same time. I think that's just too many. Too many networks, too many streaming shows, too many just overall.
The family currently has traditional cable and watches some of their favorite shows and movies on Netflix and YouTube.
What's the max number of streaming services that you see yourself having at any given moment?
I think it depends on I guess, what's on them, how much I'm paying, but I would probably say between 3 and 5 would be max.
Nearly 70% of Americans subscribe to at least one streaming platform. And a new Wall Street Journal poll finds Americans are willing to pay for an average of 3.6 streaming services or spend $44 per month. But choosing which platforms to support can be tricky, especially as media giants like Disney grab their original content back from other services.
For years, all of these big entertainment companies have been licensing a lot of their shows to Netflix. And then now what they've realized is we need that programming on our own platforms to survive.
Amol Sharma is the Wall Street Journal's media editor.
This is still Netflix's game to lose. They have 158 million customers around the world. They're way ahead of everybody. But there really is a threat from all of these new services. They each have something special that they bring to the table.
Let's say you wanted to watch high-profile shows from each of 8 different streaming platforms. Programs like Netflix's Stranger Things, Amazon's Fleabag, and HBO Succession. Staying current on all of these programs from all of these streaming services won't come cheap. We've added it all up, and depending on what service you subscribe to, you could be paying anywhere from around $68 to as much as $134.
Sharma says the average cable bill runs around $90 a month and points out that viewers who turn to streaming will need to factor in the costs of a smart TV or an internet device and high-speed internet plan. Sharma believes customers need to consider how much time and money they want to spend watching TV.
You're going to have to make some choices to keep an eye on your budget, and that means only the shows that you absolutely want to watch week after week and the movies that you absolutely need to have access to.
And one more thing to keep in mind, streaming companies are concerned more customers will share their passwords to cut costs. A coalition that includes Amazon, Netflix, HBO, and Disney is now discussing tactics to address the issue, reportedly including periodic password resets and restricting access based on geographical location. Jonathan Vigliotti, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Well, there is a half hour of news still ahead here on News 3 this morning, Sunday. Next, we're running through the morning's top stories, including the local job opportunity you have until tomorrow to apply for. Plus, Consumer Reports is out with its most reliable auto brands. Find out if your car made the list. We'll be right back.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now this morning.
Good morning. It's November 17th. I'm Keely Arthur. We'll get a check on weather with Chris in just a second. But first, here are 3 things to know as you get your day started. Beloit police are searching for at least one suspect following a fatal shooting we first told you about here on News 3 Now this morning, Saturday. Officials say a 34-year-old man was shot and killed in the 700 block of Newfield Drive shortly before 4 a.m. Saturday. Police say they don't believe the people who live in the neighborhood are responsible, but they are asking anyone in the area who has security cameras to check their video. Officials say they're also looking for a silver SUV and a blue Volkswagen sedan, both of which might have broken windows. This is the second fatal shooting in the city of Beloit in just the last 30 days. And the deadline to apply is tomorrow for anyone looking to make $15 an hour by reaching out to their neighbors. The Northside Planning Council is looking to hire 4 to 6 outreach workers whose job will be to get more families to fill out their 2020 census forms. The area has several pockets that are considered, quote, hard to count. That includes people of color, low-income individuals, and immigrants. This is all made possible thanks to a $20,000 grant from the city. And the Badgers are still in the hunt for a spot in the Big Ten Championship after a big win against Nebraska Saturday and a loss for the formerly undefeated Minnesota Golden Gophers. The Freedom Trophy is back in Madison this morning as the Badgers defeated Nebraska 37-21 over in Lincoln. It was a history-making game for Jonathan Taylor, who has now rushed for 5,598 yards, breaking Herschel Walker's previous record. Next up, the Badgers face Purdue for their last home game this season. Kickoff is at 3 p.m. next Saturday. And switching over to Chris Reese, winning forecast?
Maybe. I'll tell you what, things are going to certainly be warmer, but this morning we're tracking some areas of a wintry mix, especially as you work your way kind of south of Madison and north of Madison at the moment. But if you're down towards Monticello, over towards Evansville, you could be seeing some very light, very small, tiny flakes coming out of the sky right now. Black Earth and Mount Horeb, you're dry for now, but we jump up towards Baraboo and Honey Creek. This is where I do think the best chance for some of this to be reaching the ground actually is. That's up towards the Dells as well. Behind that, there's another area, and this one actually has perhaps some heavier snow embedded with that. That's just towards the east of Viroqua. This is going to be moving towards the east as we go through time. So with that being said, the on and off snow showers and sleet showers are certainly possible throughout the morning. I don't expect much of an impact from it. This is the system. It is not all that impressive by any means at all, and it's actually warmer on the backside of that as temperatures begin to warm above freezing. We're 1 degree below right now at 31 here in Madison, but check out Boscobel at 36 right now. Decorah, Iowa at 34. La Crosse coming in at 37 degrees right now. Janesville, you guys are at 30. Monroe at 31. So if you are in Greene and Rock counties, just be mindful that a slick spot or two is possible if any of that's reaching the ground, but I still think impacts will be very limited. We'll reach 33 by lunchtime. We'll be warming up into the mid-30s today. Keely?
All right, thank you, Chris. There is a new Democrat topping the polls in Iowa this morning, and he is 10 points in front of the next candidate. The new CNN Des Moines Register poll shows South Bend, Indiana Mayor Pete Buttigieg now has 25% of likely caucus-goer support. That's followed by a 3-way tie for second place between Senators Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders and former Vice President Joe Biden, all of whom have 15%. No other candidates is polling in double digits. The Iowa caucus is on February 3rd. And 8 more witnesses are scheduled to publicly testify in the impeachment inquiry against President Donald Trump, which continues this Tuesday. There will be 2 hearings, each on Tuesday and Wednesday, and then 1 on Thursday. Jennifer Williams, an aide to Vice President Mike Pence, is among those set to testify this week. Overnight, transcripts of her closed-door testimony was released. Williams was on the July 25th call between President Trump and President Zelensky and testified. She found the call, quote, unusual and inappropriate. President Trump hasn't directly reacted to that statement, but this weekend he tweeted that the economy and stock market would come crashing down if he was impeached. Cars are becoming more and more high-tech, but some of the most impressive gadgets and infotainment systems are the most problematic. Kenneth Craig went to Consumer Reports, which is out with its list of most reliable brands, to see which ones are consistently problem-free.
A lot of different aspects of the cars out here on the track.
Jake Fisher took us for a spin on Consumer Reports Test Track. He's a professional car tester behind the wheel of a Lexus, which the magazine ranked this year's most reliable brand.
How important do you think reliability is for consumers when they're thinking about the next car they're going to purchase?
We do surveys all the time, and usually that's right there at the top.
Along with Lexus, Toyota, and Mazda remained at the top this year, consistently free of the problems that often bring drivers in for repairs.
Is the trim coming off? Is the transmission malfunctioning? Is the engine leaving you stranded?
The annual survey ranked 30 brands. Dodge was the only American brand to crack the top 10 at number 8.
Engines, mechanical systems, suspensions, all that stuff is really lasting longer. The problem is all this new electronics that we see in these cars, that's where we're seeing a lot of problems.
That was the case for Cadillac. Troubles with its infotainment and computer systems helped drag it to last place.
We're surrounded by video screens. So imagine if this video screen goes away, it's not just about your radio. I may not be able to adjust my climate control or have a rear view camera.
But those problems didn't seem to trip up Lexus. Fisher says proving it is possible to have high-tech cars and still be reliable. Kenneth Craig, CBS News, Colchester, Connecticut.
More local news now. You'll have to get your farmers market fix indoors from now until April. The Dane County Farmers Market wrapped up its outdoor season yesterday morning on the Capitol Square. The Saturday morning tradition started back in 1972. Vendors say the market has a noticeably smaller attendance toward the end of the outdoor season since it's been so cold. The indoor holiday market opens at the Monona Terrace next Saturday at 7:30 a.m. And Santa Claus was in town last night to make Madison a little brighter. The city kicked off its Shine on Madison festival overnight. Santa and Bucky used a very big outlet to turn on the holiday lights at 6:08 p.m., a nod to our area code, of course. Shine on Madison's goal is to increase visibility and traffic to businesses downtown. Thanksgiving is just a week and a half away, and next we are serving up a suggestion for delicious appetizers or a dish for your Friendsgiving gathering. Emmy Roth Cheese Company joins us in studio this morning with what else but a very cheesy dish. We'll get a taste coming up. Welcome back. Thanksgiving is just a week and a half away, and while that holiday is often a family affair, more and more people are celebrating Friendsgiving. That's when you enjoy a delicious meal with who else but your friends. And if you don't have time or patience like me to cook a whole turkey, Abby Desvins from Emmy Raw Cheese is here with some other ideas. This is way more down my alley, fondue instead of a turkey.
This is very easy.
Yes.
So right now in Wisconsin, the weather's getting colder, maybe a little bit sooner than we want.
Yes.
And one of the greatest dishes to make for Friendsgiving or gathering is fondue. What's better than a bowl of cheese, melted cheese, to get people together and celebrate during the holidays?
I know they sell fondue kits. Is it something that you can just do on the stove top too, or how does that work?
So you can do this on the stove. Okay. We'll put together, and I'll show you our house fondue. So we have a signature fondue that we make at Roth Cheese.
Yep.
And really, it's the easiest thing you'll ever make. It's 2 ingredients, cheese and wine.
Ooh,
so two
okay.
of your most favorite things to eat,
Two
right?
things most people have in their pantry already, yes.
Exactly. So we're using 3 cheeses from Roth, locally made here in Wisconsin. Our Grand Cru is our Alpine-style cheese. Okay. It's a mountain cheese, great for the holidays. It's really, it has a depth of flavor and it's aged. We're using 2 ages, our 4-month and our 6-month of age. And we paired that with a Havarti. So you want that aged cheese, but then also a really melty cheese to really get that fondue to be very ooey gooey. So you want, that's why we're using 2 cheeses.
So let's throw it in.
Great. So we grated some Grand Cru cheese here. And then the Havarti. It's about 3 cups each of each Grand Cru, and then 2 cups of the Havarti, and then you want 2 cups of white wine.
Okay.
And then the hardest part is waiting. So you want to keep this soaking for about 15 to 30 minutes.
Before you cook it?
Before you cook it.
Okay.
So that wine is really going to break down the cheese. It's going to make sure that it's really melty and flavorful. So you let this sit, and then before your guests arrive, start to stir it up and melt it. You don't want it to bubble. You just want a very slow cook time and get it very creamy and melty. So just 2 ingredients.
And we're in Wisconsin. Everyone likes cheese, but you know, people have different taste buds when it comes to what they dip.
Yes.
So what are some good options?
So you could go very traditional. Obviously, crusty bread is the traditional way. Pears and apples and grapes are great, which we have here. For the holidays, I love to add special things. So like shrimp is great to add. You could do some grilled steak. Any sort of root vegetables, so you could roast some carrots and potatoes and have those available as well. So you can really make it however you want and use the kind of dippers that you love or your guests would love.
And you're a local company. I mean, I think even local cheeses make great gifts for the holiday season. Do you hear that from people who kind of like that they are supporting local?
Yes, we do. We actually have a gift basket available for the holidays. So if you go to rothcheese.com, we have 2 different options, and you can send cheese directly to your friends and family for Thanksgiving or Christmas or the New Year, anytime you want to celebrate.
It smells great. It looks beautiful. Thank you so much for joining us. Well, remember that all this comforting food has us in the holiday mood, and so does the weather. We have potential for more snow today, and you are taking a live look over the Capitol. Chris is back with your full forecast next on News 3 this morning. But first, if you have a little kiddo turning 3 soon, please let us know so we can share their picture and help them celebrate.
We are tracking at least a little wintry mix throughout the state of Wisconsin earlier this morning. We're starting to see some of that snowfall increase in coverage as you work your way back towards the west. Still don't think it's going to be a big deal, but nonetheless, we are watching it this morning. Up towards the Dells, back through Lone Rock, then over towards Prairie du Chien. This is where I think perhaps some of the heaviest snow is falling. We could see a light wintry mix as you work your way down towards Greene County and then over towards Rock County as well, and then the southeastern part of Dane County. Let's zoom in towards the north and west right now. Baraboo up towards the Dells, back through Reedsburg. This is where you might be seeing some light snow fall right now. We jump down towards the south, Belleville over towards Monticello, then over towards Evansville and Stoughton. That's where some light snow may be falling. Milton down through Janesville over towards Bradford. It is possible that you're getting in on just a small wintry mix right now, but temperatures today are a lot warmer than 24 hours ago, and that's why I don't really think we're going to see much, if any, impact, because a lot of these temperatures are starting to go above freezing, particularly in the west. We're still at 30 in Janesville. We're still at 31 in Monroe. Boscobel is at 36. Lone Rock is at 33, and we're at the freezing point as you work your way towards the Dells. In Madison, we're at 31 right now, but the winds are coming out of the south at 10 miles per hour. Folks, as long as that's around, we're going to warm up, and we're going to warm up pretty well as we go through the day. Let's put future track into motion. 12 o'clock, we should be above freezing at that point. Notice the 36 and 37 just towards the south, and notice that future track is showing precipitation falling as liquid at this point. That moves towards the east as we head towards 4:30. Again, this is shower activity at this point. Our temperature in Madison should be right around 36 at that point. We'll start to see those temperatures slide back down towards 30 as we head through the overnight hours, but look at what sticks around. The cloud cover. We're going to see that cloud cover into early Monday as well. We'll see Monday highs into the mid and upper 30s. Monday night into Tuesday, we could see at least a little rainmaker come on through. That might be mixed with flurries at times. We'll dry out beyond that. We'll see more clouds move right back in as we head into Wednesday. Classic upper Midwest stuff right there. Wednesday night into Thursday morning, this is when I think we could see a heavier rain event come on through here. And the thing is, it's going to be very cold rain. We're talking temperatures around 33, 34 degrees with rain down south in Kentucky. We call that winter, and it's miserable sometimes, but it will be a cold rain with snow on the northern side of that. But I think that's going to stay far above our area. We begin to clear out as we head towards the weekend, and that does mean some sunshine is in our extended forecast. We will also see temperatures into the upper 30s and low 40s by the time we get you towards Saturday and Sunday. So the end of the 10-day forecast is a good stretch. We've just got to get through the 5 days of cloud cover along with that shower chance Wednesday into Thursday and then the wintry mix chance that we have out there today. But again, I just want to stress, I would not cancel any plans. If you wanted to go do something today, don't let the wintry mix stop you. Get out and do it.
And enjoy it. Yeah, I can't believe we're almost going to see the forecast for Thanksgiving. Do you think it'll be sunny and warm for that, or is that maybe too much pressure on you?
It's a little pressure because I'll tell you what, some of the models are a bit warmer for Thanksgiving. Some of the models show some other stuff around Thanksgiving. We'll keep a close eye on it. Okay. I'm watching it because my mom is coming up from Houston, and she said the weather has to be nice.
Yeah, so many travelers
see.
Your mother. Very important. All right.
We'll see.
Thank you, Chris.
My pleasure.
Well, remember, there is more news ahead here all day long on News 3 Now, and then tomorrow morning with the cold weather here to stay, we are talking about how to save money on your next energy bill without compromising your comfort. But first, using sea lions to de-stress. We'll introduce you to the animals now helping to heal a group of veterans and how the veterans are also helping them. We'll be right back. Finally, this Sunday morning, sea lions who have been hurt in the wild are now helping veterans deal with post-traumatic stress disorder. Up to 20% of veterans returning from recent tours overseas have PTSD. That's according to the Department of Veteran Affairs.
Carter Evans takes us to Southern California to show how these veterans and marine animals are helping each other.
Feeding time can create a frenzy.
Just toss them their food.
All of these animals were rescued along Orange County's coastline and brought here to the Pacific Marine Mammal Center. Some sea lions are sick, some injured.
Put that right up here. Cornica came to us with a broken flipper.
Colby Hollabaugh, a former Marine, leads the Sea Lions for Service members course. He's been diagnosed with PTSD. And that's helped him empathize with wounded animals like this sea lion named Zion.
Zion was very badly entangled and pinned down against a buoy. I saw a lot of me in Zion. That Zion thought he was doing just fine. He was going to figure it all out on his own, right? And it's not until someone helps you that you realize how badly you needed the help.
Look at him go. Oh my gosh.
Veterans Lisa Stein and Erica Tiatalavi discovered the program while searching for help for PTSD.
A lot of time when you get out, especially if you have PTSD, you're lost. You're nervous in crowds. You have nightmares. You can't talk to anybody. That's a lot like these animals. They have no voice.
Like the military, not all the work here is glamorous, but these vets agree caring for the animals has a calming effect.
Aww. It clears your mind because all you're doing is thinking of looking at their eyes and their whiskers and little flippers.
Focusing on their behavior and kind of how almost calming it was to see them. And it's just like, okay, they're animals, non-judgmental.
The Marine Mammal Center has rescued more than 180 animals this year, and some require surgery.
And then a clamp off the tube.
Veteran Naomi Prozek watched as a critically ill seal was tube-fed. Seeing an animal fighting for life triggered memories.
Everybody was scared. I know for me, it was my emotions. I couldn't control my emotions at all, and I felt like I was really weak.
But each found strength working alongside other veterans, and bonds formed, just like the sea lions.
It was life-changing.
What is it about putting veterans together? It seems to create something special.
They can feel like a team again, and they can feel like they're doing something positive.
That was so much fun.
It's incredible, isn't it?
Sweet.
They can look in their eyes, and they can understand that the animal has struggled too. And the animal isn't weak. It's not broken because it needed help.
When the animals recover, the vets are invited to witness their return home. And like battle buddies in the military, they're released with a friend to help them find their way.
It was very emotional because they were onto another chapter, and it felt like that was like what I was dealing with, onto another chapter.
No! It's just like you learn in the military. Sometimes you're gonna have to crawl along under the barbed wire, and that's just what you have to do until you find yourself getting that stride of service back.
It's a new mission for these veterans, helping sea life to heal, and maybe healing their own invisible scars along the way. Carter Evans, Laguna Beach, California.
All right, Chris, I figured out what I want from you for Christmas, a sea lion.
A sea lion?
Those are so
I will
cute.
fly to California and see what I can do. I don't know how it's going to deal with Lake Michigan, though. If that's where you're going to put it, or Lake Mendota. We'll figure that out. But hey, in the meantime, temperatures are on the increase as we go through the week. 45 by Wednesday.
All right, everyone, bundle up and have a great rest of your day.